So the biggest struggle that upcoming agency owners have when they try to start a journey is that they cannot set appointments. Now in today's video, I'm going to explain to you how I set 15 plus appointments every single week and how you can do the exact same. Because when it comes to appointment settings, it's actually not that difficult at all. The only thing you need is a proper strategy. You need to know how to do your outreach. You need to focus on the right platforms. I'm going to explain to you how you can set 15 appointments every single week, if not even more, using cold email, LinkedIn, DMs, all the things I talked about. So let's just get straight into the video. And I'm not going to plug my Instagram because I don't have it anymore. So if you have any questions for me, please send me an email. My email is on screen right here, and in the description you can also find it. But let's get into the video. Now, before we get into the outreach strategy and how to actually set meetings, we have to set the foundation straight. Without a good offer, there's going to be no chance of you setting a meeting at all. Because if I tell you that with a generic offer and doing what everyone else is doing, you're probably not going to get clients. I'm pretty sure that would make sense to you. Now, the problem most agency owners have when they start out in the space is that they're, for example, only offering ad management. And if I'm going to go to an e-commerce store that's already doing good and probably has been approached a lot of times earlier just this week, and I'm going to offer him only ad management, he's probably not going to be interested. So what we need to do is we need to come up with a unique offer, but I've already taught you that in other videos. So now what we're going to talk about is guarantees in your offer. See, when you have an agency, one of the absolute most important things you have to have in place when first starting out is a guarantee in your offer. Because look at it like this. You have a client, they don't know anything about you, you've never spoken to them before, and you don't have any results. Well, what can you really do, right? Are they just going to work with you with no guarantees? No, not at all. So we need to set up a guarantee in your offer. And I have 3 ways that you can do this. The first guarantee that you can have in your offer is to increase their sales 40 to 50% within the first 1 to 2 months of working together. And if you cannot fulfill on that promise, you're going to refund them the money, or you're going to work for free until they're actually profitable. This is a very common trait to upcoming agencies. Some offer a full refund back, while other agencies offer just working for free until they actually made their investment back. The second guarantee you can have in your offer is to increase the ROAS by 30% or 40% or 50%. And if you fail to do so, you do one of the 2 things I just told you. You refund or you work for free until you have actually made it. Now, I want you to understand that with a good guarantee in your offer, you're not going to sit here and do outreach for too long. Because truthfully, SMMA is not about doing outreach for weeks or months on end. No, that's not how you do it. With the proper skill and understanding what you're doing and having a proper strategy when approaching SMMA, you should be able to land clients relatively fast. But your biggest problem is probably that your offer is generic and there's no safety. I understand it as a client. If someone were to approach me, they had no results, I kind of would need like some sort of a guarantee. Because if not, it's just a risk working with them, right? The third guarantee you can give your clients is something such as 10 appointments per month, 30 more sales, or let's say it's a real estate agent, 15 leads every single month of potential buyers. These are all very, very good guarantees you can have in your offer. And I also want you to think about, could there be a guarantee you can have in your offer I didn't talk about? Could you make up your own? So always be creative with it, okay? The second thing you're going to need when setting up your offer is to reduce the risk factor. I'm not going to talk too much about it, as I already kind of talked about it, and I'm sure you guys want me to talk about outreach now and how to actually land the clients. But let's talk about it very, very fast. How can we reduce the risk in an offer for a potential client? The first one is to guarantee results. And the second one, and this is one of my favorites, I probably would recommend you to do so, is to maybe work on percentage. Maybe don't even capture the payments before they've actually made their money back. But now people are going to click off, right? Because they don't want to work if they don't get money paid up front. But listen, let's be completely honest. If you're just starting out, and me 6 years ago, I didn't deserve to just close a $5,000 client. What I deserve to do right now is to work and get my things straight. And then if I did so, I would be highly rewarded in the future. So I think the most important thing you can do right now is to have guarantee and safety in your offer. And if you have that, you're pretty much good to go to start approaching outreach. Your offer should be a no-brainer for your client to agree to, but then it has to stand out, then it has to have some sort of guarantee, and it also have to have some sort of safety to fall back on. But let me get one thing straight before we get into the actual strategy. Service delivery. You got to know how you do your service delivery, or it is going to be a big problem for you, because the clients are paying you for helping them to get better results. And if you cannot do that, you will be in some trouble. So just going with this expectation. Like, hopefully it's not going to happen. If you probably won't, you probably will be good. Because if you watch my tutorial on service delivery, it's a full Facebook ad tutorial for 2022. It's over 70,000 views now. If you watch that, you will be good. You shouldn't struggle at all with performance, but you might encounter it. So just make sure you actually know a little bit about performing, running ads, and helping business generate more sales or leads. But if you know that, you should totally be good. Now let's talk about outreach. It comes in 3 different stages, where the first one is lead sourcing, actually finding the leads that you're going to reach out to. The second one is contacting the leads. And this is very simple. I'm pretty sure most people that are watching my videos has tried to contact at least some leads before, and maybe you had a bad experience. Maybe they didn't like you. I mean, business owners don't always like to be approached like this. And the third stage of outreach is just to get them on a sales meeting. So these 3 steps are pretty simple, and I think for any person out there trying to start an agency, you should definitely be able to set some sales meetings. One of my students did 75 cold calls like 2 days ago, and he set 8 meetings out of 75 cold calls. He's completely new. He's a beginner, a pure beginner, just like many of you guys watching this video, and he set 8 meetings out of 75 calls. That's very, very good results. Like, big agency guys don't even do that, and it just goes to show that you can do the exact same thing as well. So let's talk about contacting leads. I have 4 strategies that you can use to contact your leads. The first one is cold calling, and this one is awkward. If you're shy, I would actually challenge you to do this, but if you really are just not that kind of person, I probably would not do cold calling, but it's also one of the most effective ones. You remember I just told you about the 8 out of 75 cold calls turn into meetings booked actually. So if you kind of have the skill of picking up the phone, if you're somewhat outgoing, but also if you're an introvert, just try this. It's a challenge for you. I highly suggest you to do cold calling. It's one of the most effective ways to set up meetings, but you're going to, get some bad replies. It's going to be a bad experience sometimes. But overall, you're actually learning how to sell, you're learning how to convince people, but there's one big problem with cold calling. When you call a business, you're very often going to reach a receptionist. You're going to reach a gatekeeper who really don't want you to be transferred over to the owner. It's not like I can just call a business and say, hey, can I speak to the owner? I'm going to get hung up on. It's not going to work. So there's multiple different ways to approach it. If you know the owner's name, just say, hey, can you set me over to owner's name? I'll wait. And then just don't say anything, see what's going to happen. But keep in mind, it works on scale too. You have to do a couple of calls, right, before you switch up the strategy. Second of all, you can just say so many marketing nerdy things that this receptionist don't even understand what you're talking about and have no other choice than to either hang up or just put you on to the owner because she doesn't know what's going on anymore. That's a couple of ways to handle the cold calling. I would rate cold calling 9 out of 10. It's very, very good. And if you're really slick with it, which you're going to be after some time when you have been, trying it out over a couple of months or weeks, it can really work. Cold calling is just an amazing form of outreach. The second outreach strategy is cold emailing. If you work with this one, I highly recommend you to use a script. So I'm going to be very nice to you, and I'm going to give you a script for free. I have multiple scripts. I still test scripts to this day. I by no means have the perfect script, but this one has a very, very good respond rate. It has 80% open rate and a 12% respond rate. So use my script right here, whatever my editor puts it, it's probably going to work for you. So how do you make your script and how do you send out cold emails? First, let's talk about sending out cold emails. You should use a software like Limlist, which is going to allow you to send out multiple emails every single day, but you have to warm it up. I'm not going to teach you exactly how to warm it up in this video, but warming up a Limlist account is very simple. Give it like 10 to 14 days. I'd say like 2 weeks where you just send out like 15 emails every single day and then gradually increase with 3 to 5 every single day afterwards. Now, the next thing you're going to need is a script. So if you want to craft your own script, there's a couple of things you need to have in there. First, I recommend to keep it casual when first starting. I wouldn't go straight to the sale, but I would also make it somewhat obvious that it is an agency because emails works on scale. It's not like you should just personalize every email and send out 50 a day. You should just go ham and just send out 300 a day, a relatively copy-paste, change up the company's name and everything. But that's how cold email works from my experience. You have to just send out a lot of them, and it works very, very well. But you have to do it on scale, and if you cannot send out 200-300 emails a day, I don't really see the point of it, to be honest. So how do you craft your script? I think one thing that is very important is to refer to previous clients. In one of my scripts, I say, I just made one of my clients 3,700% return on investment, and that script is working very, very well till this day. So that's one thing you can do. You can kind of like refer to clients to make it somewhat obvious that you're running ads. And then you can, for example, say, I'm curious to see why are you not running ads? And then once they answer you, but there's not a video on setting up scripts. I already have videos on it, but once they answer you, hit them with a loom. And in that Loom, you explain what you would do different and that you would like to set them up on a free call. And then if they agree, you just send them your calendar link, meeting is set up. And when you set meetings, make sure that the client puts in their phone number in the Calendly. Calendly is an app, software extension, whatever you want to call it, where you can set up meetings and, gigs in the future with clients. So when you use that, make sure the client puts in their phone number, because nobody's going to go in their email 15 minutes before the call and actually be notified. So always make the client put in their number on the Calendly to make sure they don't really miss calls, and you should be relatively good. Now, sometimes they will miss calls, and if they do, you just have to follow up with them. Now, let's talk about the third strategy, and do not click off this video, because the fourth strategy in this video is my just absolute favorite and what I recommend to any beginner out there. Now, the third strategy to do outreach is something that I don't really like to do, but I am experienced doing it. It's actually the first strategy I ever used when I started my SMMA back in like 2016, 2017, whenever it was. I mean, that doesn't matter too much. It's LinkedIn outreach. But when you do that, one thing that's important is you have to have a premium account. So it's going to cost you like $50 a month. If you don't have it, it's kind of a problem. You cannot connect with too many people, but it's going to be worth it most likely. So with LinkedIn, it's very simple. I'm not going to go too in depth on it. You can probably just watch another tutorial, because I'm no LinkedIn expert, but I know that it works. Your strategy is going to, first of all, have your niche, which could be, let's just say it's real estate agents or gym owners, but for right now, it's chiropractors. So you search for like chiropractors New York or London, whatever, and then you just connect with all of them. Just send them invites to connect with you, and when they answer your invite, you're going to hit them with an outreach strategy, like, hey, who does your marketing, some stuff like that. So you're going to hit them with the fourth approach that I'm going to show you right now in a second, which is actually my favorite. So let's talk about the fourth one. The fourth outreach strategy is DMing on Facebook or Instagram. It's very powerful. If you don't have money right now, if you're a pure beginner, which is completely fine, we all start somewhere, then this is the exact strategy that I would go with if I were you. You're just going to go to Facebook. I would rather do that than Instagram. Instagram has a very low response rate in my opinion, so I just wouldn't do it, to be honest. You're going to go to Facebook, and let's just say you work with gyms. You're going to go to Facebook and you're going to search for like gyms London, or let's say gym New York. So you search gyms New York, and then you hit pages, right? And on the top it's going to show like so many gyms that are just, big franchises like Planet Fitness, Anytime Fitness, just big brands. Don't work with them. So make sure you just scroll down a little bit until you find just a little bit more of a smaller gym, and then just DM all of them. Say like, hey, could you handle 50 more appointments every single month? Could you handle 10 more clients already this month? Would that be possible for you? Hey, who's in charge of your marketing? These are all very good openers that I use and my students use, and I work with a lot of people now. I know what works. So that's definitely the best openers. But one thing I want you to understand is that getting replies on your open message, that's easy. But what do you do when the client has replied to you, the potential client? How do you continue the conversation? How do you set a meeting of that? Well, I have videos going over that. It definitely is a skill, but if you keep working and you listen, you will most likely be able to make that work as well. But it's going to be very short. I don't think you should talk too much back and forth with clients. You should give them free value, a little bit of help on how they can improve their ads. Maybe you can ask why you're not doing this, why you're not doing that, or why you're not even running ads at all. These are all questions you can ask. Then you should make a Loom video. Loom is a software, just allows you to really easily, it's an extension, but allows you to really easily film a video. Make like a 2-minute Loom going over a couple of steps they can take to just increase their sales drastically next month. And then you're going to try to set up a free 10-minute meeting with them where you're going to try to close them. So you're going to say something like, I would like to get on a free 10-minute call with you to go over the next 3 steps you can take to increase your sales drastically this month. And then on the call, you're going to sell them on those 3 steps turn into reality. Does that make sense? Yeah, that does make sense. So that's your plan. But let's talk about one thing, your sales meeting. First of all, you're going to need an app called Calendly, or it's like a software. It's called Calendly. You probably know about it if you're on my channel. And make sure the client puts in their number on Calendly, because if they just put in their email, they will be notified on email 50 minutes before the call. But who's on their email 50 minutes before the call? Therefore, if you want the people to show up to the meeting, make sure that they put their number in the Calendly. Now let's talk about sales meetings. It's kind of hard. I have videos on it already, but you're probably going to be good if you listen to what I'm saying right now. The person who puts in the most amount of work is going to get the highest reward. So on a sales meeting, you should make custom stuff for your client. You should come onto that meeting with 5 slides, 6 slide PowerPoint that you made custom for them. You have their name on there. You have photos. So let's say it's a gym. You have photos of their gym. You pull up their competitor. You just make everything custom to them. So you're really the guy who's putting in the work. And when you get into a sales meeting and you build something custom for your client that sometimes you spent 20 minutes on and he didn't even show up, but then you push him, you say you made a plan for him and he will probably join, but he didn't show up or he's not interested and you feel like, man, I wasted 20 minutes of my time. it's going to be worth it. The guy's really putting in the effort is going to make serious results. Now, one more thing I have to explain to you is that doing outreach is not easy. With the proper strategy, with the right approach to it, you should be able to generate results relatively fast. SMMA is a skill-based business. It's not only about sitting here spamming for hours a day. And I've never seen someone who puts in hours a day every single day and really is dedicated for 6 months to try to do SMMA fail. They always end up making a lot of money. It's just a matter of time. So understand that it's hard, but you can 100% do the exact same thing, because we are no different. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you click a like on it and subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to start posting 1 to 2 times every single week. I know I said that before, but this time I'm all about it. So make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.